Morning, sir.
Morning, ma'am.
Thanks
Yes.
for joining us.
My pleasure. Nice seeing you all.
Ma'am, can we start the session, ma'am?
Yes,
No?
ma'am. Pleasure.
Yes. Good morning, all. It's a great privilege to welcome all the dignitaries, resource persons, research scholars, faculty members, student participants to the valediction of a two-day international online conference on exploring new trends in language, literature, and culture studies, jointly organized by Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, Chennai, and Vivekananda College, Agasteeswaram, Kanniyakumari. Thank you, dignitaries, for joining. I invite Mr. K. Adi Narayanan, Assistant Professor of English, Vivekananda College, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, ma'am. A very good morning to everyone. This is a fabulous occasion that we are gathering here on the second day of two-day international online conference on exploring new trends in language, literature, and cultural studies, jointly organized by the Department of English, Soka Ikeda College for Women, Chennai, and Vivekananda College, Agasteeswaram. We have successfully completed the inaugural sessions, keynote address, plenary sessions, and technical sessions. Now we are in the final session of valedictory of this conference. First of all, it is my honor to welcome the management of Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, Chennai, and Vivekananda College, Agasteeswaram, Kanniyakumari, to this valedictory ceremony. I welcome everyone. And I feel very happy to welcome the principals of Soka Ikeda College for Women and Vivekananda College, Agasteeswaram, to this valedictory session. And it is my duty, and I feel very happy to welcome the conveners of this conference, Dr. K. Smati, Associate Professor and Head, Department of English, Vivekananda College, and Dr. Sandhya Lakshmi, Assistant Professor of English and Head, Soka Ikeda College for Women, Chennai. I welcome you, ma'am. And I feel very happy to welcome the eminent resource persons who have contributed through their sessions in the previous day. Dr. Justin James, E-Learning Coordinator, University of Technology and Applied Sciences, Niswa, Sultan of Oman, and Dr. R. Smadi, Assistant Professor of English, Kongunadu Arts and Science College, Coimbatore, and Dr. Divyesh Kumar Big Bhatt, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Gujarat Vidyapat, Ahmedabad, and Dr. P. Ranjita Kani, Academic Advisor, Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, Chennai. So he's going to felicitate in this valedictory session. And Dr. S. Rajaprabha, Assistant Professor of English, Vivekananda College, who is going to introduce the chief guest of this valedictory session. And Dr. S. Rajadurai, Senior Lecturer in English, Department of English Language and Teaching, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, who is going to give a valedictory address of this session. I welcome you, sir. And Dr. K. Kaviyarasu, Assistant Professor of English, Vivekananda College, Agasteeswaram, and who is going to deliver the word of thanks of this valedictory session. And on behalf of myself, I welcome all the professors of both colleges and various colleges, research scholars, and students from abroad, and everyone of this conference. I welcome everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I invite Dr. P. Ranjita Kani, Academic Advisor, Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, to deliver the felicitation address.
Respected Chairman Dr. Sedukumanan, Principal Dr. Meera, Vice Principal Kanmani Subramanian, coordinator, Dr. Sandhya, Dr. Sumati, and the secretary of Vivekananda College, principal of Vivekananda College, and the team of staff members from both the departments, from both the colleges, delegates, resource persons, special invitees, respected guest of the day, Dr. Rajadurai, who is also the resource person from Sri Lanka. Happy morning to every one of you, and greetings from Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women. The title of this international conference is fantastic, and it is fascinating and also more meaningful. Exploring new trends in language, literature, and culture studies. My special appreciations and congratulations to the management, principals, HODs, organizing committee for conducting this fruitful event, which is the need of the hour. The title suggests so many things of modern requirement, so to say, the need of the hour. It is a Herculean task done systematically, meeting the needs of the hour. This is a very interesting academic program at international level. I had gone through the brochure and I found some resource persons, and they are from various parts of the world, like Oman, Sri Lanka, and also from our own country, from Ahmedabad, and also from Coimbatore. Very, very interesting. And that is why I have mentioned that it is a Herculean task to organize this level of international conference, that too online. Excellent job has been done by both the colleges, the principals and the HODs of these two colleges. Teaching and learning. English focuses on language, content, outcome, and also learning activities. English is an international language. All these are essential components of English teaching. And this international language English is also maintained in culture, science and technology, and allied programs like international trade, tourism, and medicine, engineering, and so on and so forth. So this becomes very, very important on this present academic scenario. Happily, I remember my school days and my college days, particularly my English classes. The educational pattern was very, very different. It was in 1960 when I did my schooling and graduation. Our teacher with full expression taught us grammar, poetry, prose, and drama. We could see Shakespeare and other characters of his drama, like Lady Macbeth, Othello, in their teaching. That teaching was very, very effective. And they taught us how to write sentences, how to do grammar work, how to read poetry. Particularly, I remember the poem on Milton's Paradise. With very good expression, our teacher told, the Saturn is now in. And also the Lady Macbeth character was dramatically represented by one by name Dr. Smith. I could never forget all my teachers. So education those days was teacher oriented. We students used to listen whatever the teacher says. We took everything, every word uttered by our staff members. And they concentrated on spelling, particularly pronunciation and the grammar side. More so, Renan Martin was my Bible. at that time. I still remember we used to carry the big books, Renan Martin and other books to the classes. But the entire scenario is updated. Because of the domination of modern scientific technology and digital media. Of course, we cannot be initiating or following the old pattern or the pattern which has existed once. It may or may not be apt for the present scenario. So changing is inevitable. It should be done. So that way, nowadays we are concentrating more on modern scientific technology and digital media so that the teaching becomes mobile assisted teaching. Also online teaching with online teaching materials to help the teachers, particularly online teaching during pandemic period was a blessing. And by that, the students were engaged. When the pandemic situation was extended more than a year, and students were very much benefited by this online teaching. So definitely we have to switch over to the present media or to the present situation, changing the method of teaching, maybe the method of learning also, and also using all media, digital media, etc., particularly mobile phone. I hope you know much better than me about mobile phone, because we are using that for every purpose, for referring the dictionary, encyclopedia, Google Play, Google search, everything is done with the help of this mobile. So it becomes a very, very important tool for education, not only for education, not only for learning, but also for teaching. So learning and teaching has taken a different shape, a different configuration nowadays. So what to do? We have to follow the changes, which are really inevitable. And so now that the conference is arranged with the purpose of giving more importance for all these digital media teaching and learning. So that way, I have just gone through the papers presented yesterday by various delegates. It was wonderful to see. And they have prepared, they have collected lot of information. I really wonder in our period, we would not have, or it's not possible for us to collect so much of information in a short time and present it within the limited time. It would not have been possible, but that has been done only by the recent technologies. And so I am very, very confident that this conference gives an in-depth understanding of the new avenues of research, and it also motivates the scholars to advance in exploring new trends in language, literature, culture, and allied field. I place on record my felicitations and appreciations to our chairman, Dr. Sedukumaran, and to Mr. C. Rajan, Secretary, Vivekananda College, Agasteeswaram. The two ends are connected, Chennai and Kanniyakumari, by this conference. Two colleges have put MOU. It's a wonderful occasion, it's a wonderful event. And they were the instrumental in the conduct of this seminar. I also appreciate Dr. Meera Murkeshan, Dr. Kanmani, Dr. Rajasekaran, the principals being the motivating factor besides beyond this conference. The organizing secretary and the convener, Dr. Sandhya, very efficient person, and she is interested in all these activities apart her regular teaching. And also the convener from Agasteeswaram College, Dr. Sumati, both of them have jointly put their effort. And this conference has been very effectively done with serving the purpose of the day. Apart from the conveners, the members of the faculty, English department staff members from both the colleges. They have also coordinated the program. So it has been perfectly organized and it will be a fruitful event for all the participants. I wish these institutions will continue to organize many more fruitful events like this, which will be useful for the students and for the teaching faculty. I am thankful to Dr. Rajatharai for being present today with us. And he is going to give the valedictory address, sir. It's really, we are honored by your presence, sir. Once again, I offer my heartful felicitations to all the persons who are responsible for the fruitful conduct of this seminar. Thank you very much for this fine opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. It was so good and we have been motivated by your words. And it was like a quick recap of our college days from Shakespeare till date. And you have given so many tips regarding learning and teaching of English studies. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was so interesting.
Thank you.
And I now invite Dr. S. Rajaprabha, Assistant Professor of English, Vivekananda College, to introduce the chief guest of the day.
I extend a hearty welcome to Dr. Sumati, Assistant Professor of Nadu Arts and Science College, Coimbatore. She was a resource person yesterday and she has graced today's session also. Hearty welcome from both the sides, ma'am. Rajaprabha, ma'am, please continue, ma'am. Video. So, respected dignitaries, distinguished scholars, eminent professors of Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, my dear faculty colleague of Vivekananda College, and all the enthusiastic participants of the conference. A very happy morning to one and all. I am absolutely delighted to introduce the chief guest of today's event, Dr. S. Rajadurai, Senior Lecturer in English, Department of English Language Teaching, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka. Needless to say that we are privileged to have an academician of national and international acclaim amidst us today. Our distinguished guest has been credited with several recognitions and distinctions for his academic excellence. As an expert in teaching English as a second language, he has equipped himself with several certificate and training courses in the area of study. He has also grounded his doctoral research in teaching of English as a second language. Adding to his 21 years of teaching experience at university level, he has also served as an expert handling classes for BA degree in teaching English as second language, Open University, Malaysia. The learners benefited by his teaching include Executive Staff of Public Service and Ports Authority, Sri Lanka. He has coordinated several programs and has designed the curriculum for more than 6 courses related to teaching of English as second language. His research papers have been published in renowned national and international journals, and he has also organized workshops on writing skills and teaching of English as second language. He has chaired sessions in international research symposiums and holds several high-profile positions in various universities. Dear participants, there could not be a more appropriate person for this intellectual confluence who could inspire and set a right road to explore the upcoming trends of in English literature, language, and culture studies. I'm glad to introduce and extend a warm welcome to our chief guest, Dr. S. Rajadurai. Thank you, all of you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. With due respect, I invite Dr. S. Rajadurai, Senior Lecturer in English, Department of English Language Teaching, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, to deliver the valedictory address.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajaprabha and the madam for introducing me to this two-day international conference. And it gives me a great pleasure to have been invited to this wonderful conference today to have a session, to grace the session. Okay, so first of all, let me wish you a very good morning to you all. And so hope my voice is clear to you. So can you listen to me clearly?
Yes, sir. Voice is very clear, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes. So the chief patrons, Dr. Sedu Kumanan, Chairman, Mr. Rajan, Secretary of Vivekananda College, patrons, Dr. Meera Murugesan, the Principal, and also Dr. C. Rajasekar, and conveners and organizing secretaries, Dr. R. Sandhya Lakshmi and Dr. Sumadi, the Associate Professor of Head of the HOD of Vivekananda College, Joint Secretaries and Coordinators, and the distinguished guests, resource persons, academicians, scholars, paper presenters, ladies and gentlemen. And so I am both honored and delighted to be with you today on the remarkable occasion of the two-day international online conference on exploring new trends in language, literature, and cultural studies, jointly organized by the Department of English, Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, Chennai, and the Department of English Language of Vivekananda College. So my presentation today is, of course, now I'm going to share the screen. Yes. Yeah, can you all see the screen,
Yes,
dear
sir.
participants?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now this is learn interaction in ESL classroom towards skills development. Okay. Now, the first of all, I should tell you the purpose of having this presentation on task-based language teaching, because now we know that as far as English language teaching is concerned, a teacher's talk is too much. Teacher talk too much in the classrooms, whereas the students talk less. So that is one of the drawbacks that I could see according to my observation and experience. Secondly, the child-centered education. Now, you know, this child-centered teaching and learning methodology basically suits the 21st century of students. In that way, we can bring about immense benefits. So now, so when teachers talk too much in the classroom, what happens is, particularly in the ESL classroom, the students are deprived of these opportunities. That is, you know, that their problem-solving skills, creative abilities, creative skills, and leadership qualities, and also that, you know, taking responsibility, initiativeness, and problem solving, decision making, and all these skills are deprived of it. So in that case, now according to the modern, I mean, it is not modern really, it was introduced in 1980s. So now this, though it was introduced in 1980s, it's still we have been practicing the traditional methods, that is, you know, in classroom teaching. Now we say 3 PP like that. What is we present and practice and product. So these are three major entities that we have been practicing, which of course now we have to, it's time for us to get rid of this teaching approach and get on to task-based language teaching, that is basically deal with communicative language teaching. Now our main purpose is to teach English to enable students, learners to communicate confidently in English. So now we know that after all, we teach English as a tool for communication. No, not only English, even any language we teach to communicative purpose. So English language is used as a tool for communicative purposes. That should be our aim, so that not we talk too much in the classroom. It doesn't mean that teachers should not teach, but they have to teach, but limited. Their main aim is to enable students to talk. So that should be the main goal. So in that respect, this task-based language teaching, in other words, communicative language teachings, plays a crucial role in developing communicative competence of learners. Now my slides, of course, now the presentation, there are 20 slides. Now these are the areas which I would be covering. Now, what is task-based language teaching? Characteristics of task-based language teaching, benefits and challenges, curriculum, types of task, teacher's role, a task-based approach to language teaching approaches. So now these are things. So now we see, now the first one, based on the constructivist theory of learning and communicative language teaching methodology. Now it is now, as I told you, communicative language teaching methodology, because it deals with communication. What is communication? Learners' communication. So enabling learners to communicate confidently in English. So now what we use is here task-based viewpoint of language teaching as emerged in response to some constraints to the traditional PP. Now, as I told you, presentation, practice and production, this is a very traditional old method. It's time for us to get rid of this one and get on to communicative language teaching. Okay, so let's move on to the next one we see here. Task-based approach has drawn more attention to foreign language, particularly this when teaching English as a second language and foreign language. Now it has a prominent place. So now, as I told you, this being a learner-centered approach. So learner-centered approach means now we are giving priority to learners to speak English. So that is now, you know, learner-centered. Basically, now we put the students into groups, pair work, group work, and also teamwork and project and all kind of works we give the students. So learners, learners are given prominent place in learning English. Now teachers' role is minimized. What is the teacher's role? They monitor, right? They monitor, they function as a monitor, observer, teacher, and also some other guide, etc. They are not always like lecturing, like, you know, sociology or political science like that. So that is a lecture method, but here it is a child-centered method. So that we have to practice. So now this is a kind of, you know, natural, practical and functional. Students should be able to learn naturally, speak naturally, not a rote model. Rote model means learning by heart and speaking. Now, you know, in good old days, now as Dr. Ranjani Kanniyakumari was telling about the teacher's role. Teacher used to speak a lot, and whatever the teacher said only we expected. But here, according to this task-based language teaching, it's not like that. Teachers, students play a prominent role. Teachers function as a guide, right? That's all. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, you know, this task-based language teaching. Now, please remember this one: communication and social interaction rather than product internalized by practicing language items. So now we want to we teach English for communication and social interaction. So interact with our peer group, teachers and the societies, and rather than, you know, practicing by internalizing or rote mode learning, or else like that, like the controlled way of learning. It's not like that. They are very free to, very free in a very conducive environment, and they are free to learn with less control of teachers. So now they have some self-confidence when they are free, when they work in groups or with their peer or fellow students or peer group. They have some kind of confidence, and that gives some kind of natural way of learning. So that is well. So lack of confidence and is also very, now we find in lack, as far as English language learners is concerned, lack of confidence we find. Now, now for example, so due to lack of confidence, they fear for expressing ideas. Now, most of the time in Sri Lankan context, students, now, who come from weaker, the weaker group of students, they always fear, even not only weaker, even able students also, due to lack of confidence, they don't express their ideas freely due to fear, because others might laugh at them. So now this is this condition. Now, it is a cultural influence, cultural impact. So they fear because they may make mistakes, maybe in pronunciation or in grammatically correct expressions, and others may laugh. The others means they are fellow students, but they may not know English, but they laugh. When they find even slight mistakes, they laugh at. So that is their culture. So now, as a result, students don't speak in English. So this is a major shortcoming that we find. As a result, what happens is they don't speak. So now we have to get this kind of attitudinal change should be there. But on the other hand, they speak with foreigners confidently, because foreigners don't laugh. Now, I think this is cultural impact in Asian context. Now, so let's go to the next one. Now, so this task-based language teaching reinforces learner-centered classrooms, I told you once again, and language learning context give learners opportunities to communicate. Now, this now when we practice this task-based language language learning, it provides a lot of opportunities for learners to communicate and interact, enhancing the learner's ability to deploy the target language. What is the target language? English. And that is target language. And also there are situations like that we give. Okay, now this is a situation. Now, for example, a tour, now in a tourism context, a receptionist welcomes guests. Okay, now when he guests welcomes guests, now a lot of language is involved. Now, checking in hotel, booking rooms or reservations and food, all kind of facilities. So this is a target. Now we have to see whether that assigned target, we give a situation for learners, for learners making two roles. One is a receptionist, that is a host. The other one is a guest, that is a tourist, and about reservation or booking a hotel. So what kind of language involves? That is a target we give. Okay. So now they focus only on that target and sort of communicative problems which were highly appreciated. Now, when they follow or complete their task confidently, they feel a sense of achievement, learning. So that's what now Lynn tries to say. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. Okay. Now, according to Noonan, now we have to understand clearly what is task. That is, the teachers have to prepare task. Now, I will tell you what kind of task and what kind of practice they need to follow when they make. Okay. Task is a piece of classroom work which involves learners comprehending, understanding, and producing or interacting in the target language, while the attention is principally focused on meaning rather than form. Now, we have to understand what is meaning rather than form. Meaning means, now when they speak, they should have, the listener should be able to understand what he says. Okay, maybe grammatically it may be wrong, but anyway, meaning is understood. Now, for example, say he come It is grammatically incorrect. But whereas we can understand what the speaker tries to say. He come. Okay, that is the meaning. Now, for example, now one person is guiding, now, for example, from Chennai airport to your university, college, that Soka, Ikeda, college, how to get to that college. Okay, they may give not grammatically correct language, but anyway conveys a meaning the listener will be able to understand. So that's what we need. So that's what Noonan says. Now it also can be related to the previous context which I said. Now, so when a student think of grammatically correct, expressions, they lose their confidence. So thereby the fluency is lost. So now what we want to promote here is fluency, not accuracy. But it doesn't mean that accuracy is not necessary. It is also important. Let's see what Noonan tries to say. Yeah. Now he says the definitions may vary, but it doesn't mean it. The meaning and form. Meaning means that is the idea you convey, and the form is the grammatically correct expressions. They both are interrelated for effective communication in English. So they may be necessary, but according to the task-based language teaching, to weaker group, in terms of weaker group of students learning English, we give priority to meaning. Meaning means fluency. In other words, not accuracy. Accuracy we can focus later at the end of the lesson. We can, a teacher can explain. So our main aim is to build confidence in communicative expressions of learners. So therefore, we focus more on meaning, not the form, not grammatically correct expressions. Later on we can do it. So that is the idea. So let's move on to the next one. Now here, the several researchers have said about task-based language teaching. Now he says, Scan says meaning is primary. That again, they are emphasizing what is meaning. Meaning means what the communication it tries to convey, that is important. And there is some sort of relationship to compare the real world activities. Real world activity, it is an authentic activity. Now, as I told you, now you guide a person, right, from the airport to Soka, Ikeda college. Now, how to go, how to get to that place, right? So now it is a real world information. Now, the booking a hotel, it is real and on authentic situations. Okay, so it always leads to authentic. Therefore, the learner feels that confidence, and he feels a kind of necessity that he has to learn the language, right? It's not only for learning for a purpose which has no connection with the real life situation. Whatever it is, we have to relate it to real life situation. So after that, the assessment of task in terms of outcome. Now, successfully, it conveys a meaning so that the listener can understand. Based on that only, the assessment is task, not, I mean, a grammatically correct expressions or a pronunciation, grammatically correct expression, all those aspects you see and assess. So here, the communication related to the meaning, and the listener, the audience should be able to understand what he tries to say. Based on that only, you assess. Okay, now we'll go to the next one now. So according to Ellis, now what he trying to say about the benefits to help foreign language. Okay, provide the opportunity for natural learning within the classroom context. So natural learning means now, we have to bring authentic situation to the classroom. Now, as I told you, now in tourism context, receptionist and guest, right? That is an authentic situation. Okay, you put two students into pairs and act out a situation. One takes a role of receptionist, the other one is a guest. So now the guest wants to book a hotel room. So how he speaks Now he greets. Now the receptionist has to greet at first and he smile, good morning, and how can I help you? And also and check the and ask the name of the guest and the telephone number and what kind of room he asked for, etc. That is an authentic situation. Okay, so that is a natural learning. Right, it stresses the meaning over form. However, and again, he is also telling the meaning is important and it can emphasize the learning. Right. Okay, it offers learners fertile input. Fertile means some rich language or the content. It may be content. Now, as far as booking is concerned, now we have to think of many things. Is it so? Many things means now you ask question, give suggestions, you make a request, and also you by if there is a complaint or anything, how you solve the problem. So a lot of skills are involved: speaking, listening, reading, reading of course that menu card, etc., or the brochure, etc., and discussion. Many things are involved. Oh, that is the next one is intrinsically motivating. Now, if you are a receptionist, now you don't now you have to play that role correctly. So now you are intrinsically internally motivated. Okay, now I take the role of receptionist. I should do this one correctly. So that kind of things. Now compare a situation. Now if you give an imaginary situation, there is no intrinsic motivation. Now you give only an imaginary situation. Okay, you imagine this one. It is not that effective. Always, as far as language teaching is concerned, we give real life situation, authentic situation. Then it paves a way for learners to motivate intrinsically. Hello. Now it's time for us to interrupt you and ask you some questions. Now, are you all listening to me? Because
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
now
sir.
I will also ask you some question regarding this one. Oh, but then I think there may be a lot of teachers here. Yeah, now they can speak to themselves and see whether they are using this kind of methods. So in that way, they can reinforce their understanding. Okay, right. It is consistent with the learner-focused educational philosophy. But permission for teachers' input and guidance. Learner-focused means, in other words, learner-centered. Now we give priority for learners, right? And teachers' input and guidance is very important. In what way teachers give? Teacher prepare tasks appropriately. Now I will tell you what kind of task, how they should make it in the next slides. So it contributes to the improvement of communicative fluency. Without disregarding accuracy, I told you, communicative fluency, and without disregarding accuracy. Accuracy is very important for effective communication. That means grammatically correct expressions, pronunciation, body language, etc. So it can be deployed together with more traditional approach. Okay, now we'll go to the next one. Yes. Now what are the challenges we find? Now the challenges. Now, when putting this one task-based language teaching into practice, a lot of challenges are there. What are those challenges? So that task-based language teaching involves high level of creativity and dynamic on the part of teacher. The teacher, of course, teacher has to work hard. Work hard means when considering the task, syllabus, he has to think of the level of his students, the interest. The level means their language fluency. Now, in a language, there may be mixed ability students in a class. And otherwise, you find weaker group of students, right? Could be quite challenging. You have to understand their level and make tasks, right? And so it is a very much challenging task sometimes, because he has to, the teacher has to be very initiative, hardworking and committed. And it's a kind of challenging sometimes in a mixed ability group. So that way. So if the teachers are restricted to more traditional roles, now as I told you, 3 PPs are there. That is presentation, practice and production. It's a traditional way of teaching that we undertake always in classrooms. So if it is so, it's very difficult for them to change their attitudes due to various reasons. Sometimes you can't put the students into groups and work. So sometimes the neighboring classrooms, now you get a lot of disturbance. Sometimes the authority doesn't support you to do your work. So a lot of problems will be there as far as teaching English is concerned. Okay. So that task-based language learning necessitates resources beyond textbook. Now you can't always confine to textbooks. Now you know that as far as this secondary learners concerned, secondary level is concerned, now we give the government prescribed textbooks. So a lot of textbooks are there. You stick only to textbooks. Right now, you must be able to refer to many other resources and take activities which are more enjoyable and more challenging or more suitable to those students. Sometimes the textbooks are limited, right? So now you can't depend on. So you have to, in that respect, you have to work hard. So now this one now students also at first they don't like to do group activities because they fear they may like individual tasks, individual activities. The reason is now in a group work when you give a pair work, only the abled students or better or bright students dominate. So thereby the weaker group of students don't come out with because of through fear. They think that their ideas are not accepted much, therefore they keep quiet. So this is a challenge. So in that respect, teachers' role, of course, it's very important. He has to understand the psychological condition of his students and the level and all you have to put in that way. So that is also a challenge. Okay, now we'll go to the next one now. Okay, now the teacher's role. Now what should teachers' role? Now normally now we internalizing. Now but the student learners internalize language skills in a natural way, shows that how to sort out problems they encounter, because now it is always problem that they have to sort out. Now for example, now you see a troublesome customer is shouting at a in a firm, right? Now, for example, you say that that you go shopping mall, they are now that by mistake you have now you are a cashier and you have overcharged a customer. So he or she comes there and shouts at you, right? So this is a problem there. Now you listen to his problem and you have to calm down and you have to explain, you have to entertain his complaint, and how to entertain complaint and how to sort out the problem and what kind of reward you give. Lot of processes there. So it is now always the task is always problem based. In that way, now you say it's a kind of problem solving activity, right? So we have to take that one into consideration, and also the adapted linguistic proficiency level of a student. Now as I told you, now when you design task, you have to see the linguistic proficiency of the standards. There may be weak. Now you know that 3 levels you find. That is basic level, that is in other words preliminary level, intermediate level, advanced level. So now your task also should conform with those levels. Now suppose now a weaker group of students, you can't give higher level of task. So now, though it can be challenging, students won't be able to do it. So that will be boring and it is beyond their capacity. So try to find out the level of the students and design your task proficiency. And tasks should be trailed to provide that they contribute to suitable and revised within the framework of experience. So now that is, you have to trial and see whether these tasks are appropriate to their level, and whether they enjoy doing this one, whether it is necessary for them. Now, for example, in a specific context, you teach English for science students, and science students you teach science, to demonstrate certain things. Now the science demonstration, or when they do some kind of experiments, and they have to demonstrate it. So that kind of skill. So identify what skills they need to be. The skills that need to be developed, and prepare task accordingly. So based on their experience, you have to think of it. Okay, now we'll go to the next one now. Teacher's role. Now again, the teacher's role is very important. Teachers should have a clear understanding about what the topic is. Teachers should understand that for science students, now he can't give general English or beyond the task which is irrelevant to those students. Similarly, in a business context, you say now how to write a memo, or else now how to face an interview, or else how to answer a telephone call, as the telephone etiquettes, etc. So you understand their situation, the specific context, and prepare or design task accordingly. Okay. The teachers and the students should be made familiar with the purpose of logic behind. They should both understand whether while learning or teaching, and what kind of advantages they may get, whether it is whether there is a relevance, whether there is a kind of the importance in it. So based on that, we have to make this one. Okay. Teachers engaging in task-based course must be engaged in design of task material. So that is related to preparation of task. Okay, we'll go to the next one now, the curriculum. Curriculum is very important. Now I have been discussing about curriculum in a sense. Now you teachers should think of designing a curriculum related to task-based language teaching. That means what kind of task he has to think of it. Now in a different context. Now these are all adults learning, please understand. So now we also in the ESP, English for specific purposes, we understand certain purposes for learning, the teaching and learning. The nurses, English for nurses, and English for tourism and hospitality management, English for medicine, and English for business context, etc. So now, so based on that, you prepare a task. So syllabus design also should be made accordingly. Not only that one, that is specific purposes. And as I told you, remember the students' level. That means linguistic proficiency, or in other words, language proficiency. And the students' interest, it should be there. Level, interest, the requirements, and you can also think of when these students go to industry, but the industry means the employers, what kind of language they expect from them. So now we have to think of those things and all. And sometimes for academic purposes. Now, presentation skills are very important. Now the students for academic purpose, so referring to various resources, right, for writing assignments, etc. We have to think of those aspects and design a syllabus. So methodology means selecting, sequencing, justifying learning experience. This is, now you have to select suitable topics. Sequence means put them according to their level. Now, most important thing or least important thing, or else you put them into level, the primary level, secondary level, and a higher level like that you put them. And you have to justify why you want to do so. So this is very important. After that, assessment and evaluation, that is a part of teaching. You give work and you have to assess to ensure whether the learners have understood. Okay, we'll go to the next one now. It is 15. As far as task-based language teaching is concerned, pre-task. Now I want to tell you this one. What do you call this? Now task-based language teaching is concerned, there are 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Whatever you teach, now you want to put into 3 stages. So pre-task. Now, what is the pre-task means? Before teaching. Now, one example I can give you. You want to do reading. You say COVID-19. The COVID-19 reading means normally as teachers, we don't directly get into teaching. Now, you give a piece of reading comprehension and ask the teacher. That is the teachers, most of the teachers do like that. Traditional teachers ask the students to read that one from A to Z, and they explain the hard words and the meanings, etc. That is the vocabulary. And after that, I allow them to answer the question. The lesson is over. It should not be the way. The pre-task you design pre-task activities. That is a warm-up activities, or sometimes in ELT term we use schemata. Schemata means you exploit the existing knowledge of learners. Now, for example, now you say COVID-19, you ask before starting the lesson, what do you know about COVID-19? Now, have you seen it? What are the what things you know? Please work in groups and you put the students into groups and write whatever they know about COVID-19. The seriousness, where it originated, how it ended, what kind of medicine was given, etc. So they come out with a good set of vocabulary, and they all think of what they know, what they want to know, etc., etc. So that is raise consciousness. That, in other words, you are taking students into your world, right, into the authentic situation. That is a real life learning, authentic situation. So that you can give, now you can show some pictures about COVID-19. You can show a video, you can listen some audio clips, etc. In that way, the students will be motivated to learn. You can attract the students into your world. So pre-task is very important, not only for reading, even writing also. Now you ask them to write a paragraph of COVID-19. You make a set of questions and generate information and put them into paragraphs or essays, etc. Or speaking is also like that. Or else you give a listening task, and before listening, don't play immediately. Ask few questions about it. So in that way, you can improve a lot, grammatical expressions, vocabulary, and grammar, many more things you will come to know. So at the end, the students feel confident to do the task confidently. So that is the first, that is pre-task, that is called pre-activity schemata, in other words, or otherwise warm-up activities. Right. After that, task cycle means the real questions you give. Right. Now you get into a subject, right? It is over the second stage, right? Now you give pair work, group work, information gap activity. This is very important. As I told you, child-centered. Now what I want to tell you is now, because as far as this teaching is concerned, it's not a lecture method. Now you don't, yes, but there is, of course, you're saying here, tell me what you, I'm sorry. Now, so tell me and I forget. Now you tell the learners forget. Teach me, I remember. Involve me and I learn. So this is a kind of involvement. Pair work, group work, information gap. You allow the students to work themselves. So in other words, I say child-centered learning or learner-centered. You function as a guide, monitor, observant, right? Facilitator. Teacher plays a multifaceted role in task-based language teaching. They monitor, they function as a facilitator, they function as an observant, etc. Like that. Okay, and a counselor. Pair work you give, group work, information gap means information. One, say for example, interview, in a set of interview, some students collect information about the other teacher, maybe personal things, your name, the hometown, and how we get to the university or college, and where he studied, qualification, and what is his yes, or hobbies, etc. And present it's to other group. So information gap. So gradual increase. After that, you increase the level gradually and report it. Report it means in a group work, students report to the other groups, right? Or the classroom, and the presentation skills. So these are all the task cycle, and which is related to task-based language teaching, in other words, communicative language teaching, in other words, child-centered. So post-task means at the end, selecting and identifying and classifying. Now, I told you identify. Now, for example, you say that you give a kind of word, say environmental pollution. You classify, identify the reasons for environmental pollution and classify them. There are different types of pollution, etc. Earth pollution is there, air pollution is there, soil pollution, water pollution, etc. So you classify them. and give words also. Now, what kind of words? Because, you know, in terms of teaching English as a second language, words, vocabulary and grammar play very crucial role. So vocabulary related to that context, the environmental pollution, vocabulary related to nursing or science, etc. And after that, you practice the language and phrases in the classroom, that identifying things and building personal dictionary, that is vocabulary. Okay, now we'll go to the next one. 16 and listing. Now these are the types of tasks you can give. Now earlier I told you now how to teach, and these are tasks. List people and places things. Now, for example, listing. Brainstorming means I told 3 task activities or warm-up activities, or else you know, raising consciousness. Brainstorming means thinking. Now, before learning is thinking. You know, before getting into the thing, allow students to think, exploit their existing knowledge. So that is list people, places. Now you are visiting an important place. So you think of, now you know that you know Mysore Maharajas, or it's a certain interesting Taj Mahal, and ask few questions about it, where it is located and who built it, historical importance, related vocabulary, etc. Historical importance. So they think, right, whether they visited, how they visited, when they visited, with whom, and what is the significance of that place, etc., etc. Right? So listing and ordering and sorting. Sequencing means now you put the ideas what you have given in you know, in order. Now, for example, a tourism contest. Now I told you earlier that booking at first, now you ask for information, personal information about the person. After that, you give the booking the facilities in the hotel or food, or else now you guide this guest to the various destinations. Now you give describe those destinations, so tourist attractions, etc. Okay, sequence, and gradually you give explain the food or whatever, or places or facilities, etc. and classifying them. The classifying, in other words, I can say food. Now you can say menu. If you take menu, you can classify it as so starter, and after that is snacks, or else meals, etc. But and according to the time, etc. Okay, right. And matching means now I can give you, now you give pictures, right? A series of pictures, or 4 or 5 pictures, and give a series of sentences and ask them to match which story or sentences match that picture, or else some persons, right? Some great inventors or great you know, personalities, and ask them to match. And you have written some ideas about, say, Mahatma Gandhi. You have written a paragraph of a profile, a personal account of Nelson Mandela. So you give in mixed and ask them to match with the person's photo or the pictures, like that. Comparing and contrasting similarities, private universities and state universities, right? Or transport, you say land transport and air transport, like or sea transport, etc. Problem solving, and these kind of things with the quizzes and questionnaires, project, etc. These are all types of tasks, all child-based thing. Okay, now we'll go. I don't know whether the time is up. We'll go to the next one now, because this activity is the teacher's role. The teacher's role, in a sense, teachers should use as much as possible English foreign language. Now, so sometimes, you know, most of English teachers use their mother tongue to explain, but use simple English so that the students will understand. So you can also use mother tongue when necessary to explain certain things that will make students confident, but not always. Suppose now you explain in English and as US learners could not understand, so giving them mother tongue Tamil, though they will understand. So that is a kind of to build their confidence. So the pre-task I told you, the audio, video, text, make it more interesting. The pre-task, it is very important. Then in that way you can bring students into your world. Okay, right. Now we say activities, teachers' role. I say facilities. Teachers who can use own strategies. Now you have to identify students and imagine and plan your own strategies, right? Sometimes what you find in, in theory, sometimes it won't suit. So you are the judge and think of it. Okay, teacher's role in the main task, monitoring the process. Teacher always take the role of monitoring the students, facilitate the students, observe the students, guiding the students, and counseling, and identifying the problems and give counseling. In that way, you can remember. Remember the importance of the last step, that conscience raising activities. Last, allow students to repeat their process and their work. After writing, give a summary of it. Now, for example, what they have done, how they have done, why they have done, they have to justify, etc. In that way, you can reinforce their understanding, and it will reinforce the weaker group of students also. And also, now, as I told you earlier, I was telling about this grammatical aspects, that is accuracy and fluency. Now, this is time for you to think of grammatically correct expression. Make sure whether the students speak grammatically correct language, right? And their pronunciation, etc. Slowly you can explain the situation, not individually, highlighting the common problems and bring it out. You can use through students. There may be better students in your group. Ask them to explain that one. Then in that way, the better students will understand. They may have some kind of confidence, or they may be their language may be elevated. So the weaker group of students thus will be motivated. And if you don't find better students, then you can teach. Always give priority to students. Even the presentation, even you can ask students to teach the better students. In that way, that is child-centered learning. Okay, now we'll come to the last one, now nearing the last one. Task-based approach to a language and allows for needs analysis. Now you must understand what is needs analysis. Now, in adults teaching, the students learning language may vary to discipline to discipline. Now, for example, you teach English for engineering students, you teach English for pharmacology students, you teach English for business students, right? And you teach English for tourism and hospitality, like that. So their needs vary from discipline to discipline. So now you ask what kind of English they need. In that way, you can prepare a questionnaire and give the students, distribute to students and see, okay, what they need. Do they need speaking more? Do they need listening more? Do they need writing more? Do they need listening more? So ask speaking, listening, what they need more. Do they need grammar? Do they need vocabulary? If so, to what extent? So needs analysis is, now I can tell me what you need English for, and I will tell you the English you need. Is a guiding principles of ESP, that is needs analysis. Means now you ask the students' needs and prepare your syllabus to suit their immediate requirements. Now you can't teach, science or medicine students, pointless teaching general English, because it doesn't serve any purpose. So you imagine now business English students, you have to teach business related English, but they need a presentation skills. They need a memo, letter writing. They need memos or what else? These are technical reports or business reports, lot of related to that field they may need it. So teach them and ask them, giving you a questionnaire, and based on it, you design it. So you can also administer questionnaires, interview, you can observe them, and also you can consult even the industries. But English, your employees or your students or internship, what kind of English you may need. So in that way, you can understand better and do it. So that is the thing, your needs analysis I'm telling you, right? Is supported by the research findings in the classroom. Based on the research finding in the classroom, you draw a syllabus accordingly. So next one allows evaluation to be based on testing referring to task-based criteria. You may make your own criteria, task-based criteria. I told you at first, give priority to meaning right after that form, and later both you can give because it is both are interrelated. And you gave have a own rubric and assess their performance. Engage their attention, promote their language development as efficiently as possible. Okay, now I come to the last one. Then now with this, I think it is over. And okay, now advantage. What are the advantages of task-based language learning? Is useful for moving the focus on the learning process from the teacher to the students. A learning process, you know, learning is a process. Now you have to, now I told you what are the process, and the students learn pre-task, you give while task and post-task. So that is a learning process. In between learning process, and you give some activities, you put them into groups, right? And you give what they have to do at first, what they have to do at last. You know, it comes, there is a process. Even writing is a process. The listening is a process, right? Writing now, for example, take a process. Now, you know, first you have to generate ideas, and after that you put them into, you organize the ideas, revise, editing, revising, assessing, etc. Learning is a process, okay? And understanding the language too, right? It's a special goal. Different way of understanding the language, okay? And bring teaching from abstract knowledge to real world application. Make it always take it to real world. In that way, the students feel that they have to learn because there is a necessity for them to learn. Then they learn. Otherwise, they don't learn. If they feel it has no relevance to them, they don't learn. That's what I told you. Needs analysis is very important. Child-centeredness is very important. And authentic situation, bringing the authentic situation into their teaching is very important. In that way, you can make your teaching more more meaningful, more authentic. So either two I have discussed with you. Task-based language teaching. What is task-based language teaching, and what are the characteristics of task-based language teaching, and what is task, right? The definition, and the advantages and disadvantages of task-based language teaching, and how you can design a task-based, and what kind of criteria you have to think of it, etc. I have discussed. Okay, now thank you very much for listening to me. And now if you have any questions or any clarification, it's time for me to discuss. Then can I stop sharing this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that you can come. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for listening to me. It's, I think I have spent more than 1 hour.
Yes, sir. It's okay, sir. So
Yeah.
1 hour, sir. Exactly 1 hour.
Yeah, maybe the students or teachers, particularly this is for teachers of teaching English as a second language, might have got some ideas, some benefits from my discussion.
Very informative session, sir. Like it was like a teacher's toolkit. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the wonderful session, sir.
Have any kind of doubts or clarification, I can give 2-3 minutes, ma'am. Is it all right? Or else I can wind up considering your time factor.
We can ask the participants.
Or faculty members.
Teachers, yes. Scholars, you can post your comments. You can ask questions.
This is very important, whether it is practical or it is practicable, whether it is useful, whether you are teaching by English according to this way or practicing traditional methods, or the problems and challenges you can ask. I shall be pleased to answer.
The one thing is, as you said, we have to design according to the linguistic proficiency of the students. The problem we face is when those students come into literature class.
Yes, ma'am. It's a good question.
Same proficiency, they take up literature. That time it is very difficult to teach them English and then literature within a stipulated 90 days. That becomes a big challenge for the teachers.
So now you are asking, ma'am, how to come over this situation. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, ma'am, now this is a good question, and you can have a test really. Test in a sense, now you can give a written paper. Now, you assign some simple questions. Now, say, for example, writing a paragraph about whatever they have learned. They might have learned a poem, or they might have enjoyed a fiction, or they might have seen a series of, television dramas, etc. They are all related to literature. So ask them to write why they were, what is the name of that, I mean, the literature, piece of literature, whether why they liked it, and what kind of message it tries to convey, etc., etc. So they will write and give you, so that you can assess where they stand. That you can see their the expression, the language proficiency. Some students might write a better piece of writing, okay, according to your expectation, right? All grammatically correct expressions, content, and also organizing facts and all, and ultimately justifies why he likes it. So that is related to literature. Then you imagine these students are better, these students are weaker, and accordingly, based on their performance at the test, you can put the students into groups and teach. So it doesn't mean that, so now you can't put a weaker group of students among the better students and teach. So it would be really a challenge for you. In that way, you can come over the situations.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Participants, any other questions?
Sir, it was really am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's really an excellent session, sir. Thank you so much. So a teacher should play various roles, right? Such as such learners, facilitators, assessors, manager, and evaluator. So before teaching the students, a teacher has to first place himself or herself as a learner and think from the learner's perspective. So yes, we learn from your lecture. So in doing so, students can be captured with interest. I mean, they can sit in the classroom with a little more interest. So there is a wise proverb in English, sir, that goes like, you get out of life what you put into it. So what this means is that the more effort you put into any activity, the happier you will be doing this and the greater your reward will be. So this sentence also applies to learning and teaching as well. Yes, that includes learning and teaching. So I just remembered this wonderful quote by listening to your lecture. It's really a wonderful lecture, sir. So what my doubt here is, so what is your view about the mother tongue influence in teaching English, especially in Tamil Nadu and Sri Lankan sort of classroom?
Yes, that is a very good question, ma'am. Mother tongue influence is there. Now, here they, when they are not proficient in English, what they do is they think of in Tamil or Hindi or whatever, Kannada, and translate into English. Sometimes, that mother tongue, the way they think, when they put it into English, target language, it may sometimes it may not convey the intended idea. So now that problem is there. So in that case, it is a quite challenging. Now, how we can come over that situation is give students a lot of exposure to language. Now, for example, now how I teach in Sri Lanka, even in Sri Lanka, the students, what they do is they think in Sinhala language. They think in Tamil language and try to express their ideas. So you forget that one and ask them to think in English. Now you may ask how learners can think in English. Now, a simple example I can give you, sentence, of course, I had my meal. I had my meal. It gives a different meaning, you see. I had, but according to this, had the verb. So I had means here, ate. I had my meal at 1 o'clock. I had my lunch at 1 o'clock. Had means 8. Okay, sometimes the students might not know the word and the different way. I had a cell phone. I had a bicycle 10 years ago. So there it gives a different meaning. So we have to
What happens
explain
here?
that
People
situation
think
one
that
way and ask them to read
there is
also
a separate
simple paragraphs and give a English context. We have to take his
DLD.
learners to English context. And in that way, by giving
Let's take
good
Tamil.
exposure to learners, we can come over this.
Based on Tamil Ilakanams.
That is one thing. The second thing
directly
is,
proportional to Ilakyams.
excuse me, sir. Now while I am speaking, if you speak, I don't know.
Sandhya, madam.
Now I am explaining it to you, sir. I'm answering. Now, can you please? Dr. Kaviera, so can you please? Okay, right. Okay. Now you give students to language exposure. So in that way, they can forget this one. The other thing is ask them to allow them to think of in English subject, verb, object. So sometimes in Tamil, the object comes at first. Is that so? So always think of a subject. What is this about? Now, the speaker. Right now, for example, I traveled by train. So if they put into Tamil this word, sometimes it may be right, sometimes it might not be. So teach this word, the sentence is structured. That is one way. The second way is allow students to, read simple writing skills. And also you can also speak in English as much as possible. In that way, language acquisition takes place. In that way, you can come over the situation. Thank you, ma'am. Hope I
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Any other questions, teachers? It's a nice opportunity. This is scholars.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am, sir, don't you think that we need not take language and literature into two different entities while we go for teaching language and literature? When we teach literature itself, we can take the sentence patterns of that literature into consideration to teach grammar.
Ma'am, you are trying to say that through language, through literature, can you repeat it? I could quite catch it, ma'am. Now, the last point you were giving?
Yeah, I just say that instead of taking literature and language, grammar, into two different, taking them into two different paths, we can merge them together. And then while teaching or while explaining the portions of literature, we can just go for teaching grammar also. This is opinion that I give you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now I got the point, ma'am. Now this language and literature, in my point of view, should go together with even teaching literature. Grammar should not be isolated. You don't teach grammar and teach only grammar. You have to interrelate. Now, as far as this language teaching is concerned, these skills are integrated. Listening, speaking, reading, writing is integrated. That is the first thing. The second point I can tell you is when you teach grammar. Now, for example, you say you are teaching simple past tense, past continuous tense, and perfect tense you are teaching. And now you give a piece of literature, right? A novel or a fiction or a poetry or a poem, right? Now you can see in the certain poems, now you can see things are given all in simple present tense. Say if poem, that is if, right? It's a sentence structure. Okay, sometimes a novel you give Charles Dickens is a narrative style. Now, it's a very good thing for you to teach past tense and past continuous tense. So similarly, you can take a piece of literature to teach grammar and related, teach and related to that situation. In that way, your teaching can be reinforced. So students also will understand better. Ask them to explain and tell me in their opinion about it. They use simple presenter. What do you think of this, Charles Dickens' Great Expectation, or R.K. Narayan's Swami and Friends? Now, what Swami and Friends, you take a small piece of, a part and ask, what do you think of this tense? But what does the writer want to say? Okay, how he explains the situation in the city or the train. Now you can take that photograph or picture and ask them to explain it, so that you can assess whether the particular learner is coming out with simple present tense, past tense, future tense, etc. Based on that, you can teach, you can think of your or design your teaching, your task in that way, and it would be quite interesting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You can post your comments too.
Yes, ma'am. I can. Yeah, I got one.
Your valuable comments, presenters, participants, please.
I got a thank you for your elaborative session on TBL. I got only that one, ma'am. So anybody who can't, tell, they can post it. They can put into the chat box.
Sir, can we move on to the next event?
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, but since there are no questions, and so we can move on to the next session. I wish you all a pleasant day with joy, happiness, and rewarding experience. Wish you all the best, and thank you so much for listening to my presentation. And also hope it would have enlightened to some extent to ELT teachers. And so I am really obliged to Dr. Sandhya Lakshmi and for inviting me, and Dr. Sumati and Dr. Kaviyarasu and all those who are involved here. So thank you very much, and I wish you all a rewarding experience, and I shall be pleased to contribute in future events also, with your permission, ma'am. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best in teaching and learning English.
Thank you. So as we have come to the end of two-day conference, so it is my duty to thank Sumati ma'am, all the faculty members of Vivekananda College, right from the day we signed MOU. We are touched by their hospitality and the way they treated us. And I should place on record my gratitude, humble gratitude for the management of both the institutions. They were kind enough to give us space to do this. So I place my gratitude for both the management, the members, faculty members of Vivekananda College, faculty members of my department, who were struggling between the classes and the conference and who were helping me a lot in conducting this. So to wind up the session, the two-day conference, I call upon Dr. Kaviyarasu. Special mention should be given to Kaviyarasu. A big thank you to him for coordinating with me for the past 1 month. Thank you very much, Kaviyarasu sir, Sumati ma'am. And I call upon you to propose the formal vote of thanks, sir.
Madam, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. We can listen to you very clearly.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, dignitaries online across the world. And as we have already received a cordial vote of thanks, as Madam said, we are here for a formal vote of thanks. So, we are towards the fag end of the two-day international online conference on exploring new trends in language, literature, and Culture Studies, jointly organized by the Department of English, Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, Chennai, and the Department of English, Vivekananda College, Agasteeswaram, Kanniyakumari. In this momentous occasion, I deem it a great privilege to propose the vote of thanks. First of all, I grab the opportunity to thank the chief patrons of both the institutions, Dr. Sedukumaran, Chairman, Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, Chennai, and Mr. C. Rajan, Secretary, Vivekananda College, Agasteeswaram, Kanniyakumari. The patrons, Dr. Meena Murugesan, Principal in charge of Soka Ikeda College, Arts and Science for Women, and Dr. C. Rajasegaran, Principal, Vivekananda College, Kanniyakumari. And the advisors, Dr. R. Jagannathan, President, Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, Dr. Kanmini Subramaniam, Vice Principal, Soka Ikeda College of Arts and Science for Women, and Dr. T.C. Magesh, IQC Coordinator and Assistant Professor of Zoology, Vivekananda College, for extending their greatest support in the endeavors of this collaboration and academic exercise. I am deeply indebted and thankful to the coordinators and organizing secretaries, Dr. R. Sandhya Lakshmi, Assistant Professor and Head, Soka Ikeda College, and our beloved head, Dr. K. Sumati, Associate Professor and Head, Vivekananda College, who have been instrumental in giving life to this MOU through this conference. I would like to make a special note of thanks to the resource persons of the two-day conference, starting from the keynote address delivered by Dr. Justin James, e-learning coordinator, University of Technology and Applied Science, Nizwa Sultanate of Oman. And the plenary speakers, Dr. R. Sumadi, Assistant Professor of English, Vivekananda Arts and Science College, Coimbatore, and Dr. Divyesh Kumar Deepat, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Gujarat, Vidyapith, Ahmedabad. A special word of thanks to our resource person here of this day, Dr. S. Rajadhuri sir, who is a senior lecturer in English, Department of English Language Teaching, University of Colombo, Sri Lanka, who has been with us in the beginning of this MOU. When the MOU was signed, sir was here, and we are really happy to have him as the valedictory speaker of this conference. So I thank all the resource persons on behalf of Vivekananda College and the Soka Ikeda College for enlightening the gathering. I would like to extend my thanks to the chairpersons of this two-day conference, starting from the head of the departments who acted as the chairpersons when a few chairpersons were not able to make it up. So thank you so much. And of course, we are indebted to them in all walks of this endeavor. I thank Dr. A. Suresh, Dr. M. Sendil Kumar, Dr. S. Rajaprabha from Vivekananda College, Dr. M.R. Bindu, Dr. P. Revati from Vailtech University, Dr. S. Priyadarshini from KAC Kasinadar College, Dr. K. Madhurimani from Arumnagu Kabalishwarar Arts and Science College, Dr. S.B. Shanmugapriya from DR BCC Hindu College, Chennai, and Dr. N. Jayasudha from the same institution. When we planned this conference, many people were supporting us, were behind us, and of course, we would like to have a special mention, and we would like to honor them with a special word of thanks. So at this moment, I am deeply grateful and indebted to one of the persons who are behind us and with us and being with us in organizing this conference. It is none other than Dr. Sumati from Kongunadu College of Arts and Science from Coimbatore. So the journey of association started in the previous conference organized by the Vivekananda College and Nadu College, and now almost all the resource persons here are her references, and of course we thank you, madam, for making this conference a grand success and being a kind of academically elite endeavor. I thank all the members of the joint organizing committee, or the joint organizing secretaries, the coordinators, and the members of the organizing committees. A special word of thanks to Mr. J.S. Ajit and Mr. S. Abraham Dev for being with us and doing all the support in the connectivity of this conference. And we also thank Dr. K.K. Forums for rendering the Zoom service. We thank all the teaching staff, support staff, and students from both the institutions for being a greater support in organizing this conference. We also thank all the participants for your active participation and cooperation. So once again, I thank one and all. Thank you. Let's meet in the next conference, hopefully offline.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am, I hope we have successfully completed our two-day international conference. Thank you, Sumati ma'am. Dr. Kaviyar said thank you. Thank you, Sumati ma'am from Coimbatore.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For excellent a note of gratitude. This vote of thanks. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you so much.
For sure. Yes.
I personally thank each and everyone, particularly Dr. R. Sumati, or Sandhya Lakshmi, all yes, all three yes. We have made conference possible and all successful. And I just thank even Dr. James, and then who not known personally, accepted immediately. Even the other resource person from Gujarat, I think, and then accepted. And special thanks to Dr. Rajadurai, and who had been here as resource person to some other program. And we approached him to be the resource person for this conference. He readily accepted, and I just owe a lot of respect and love for your immediate acceptance. And as Kavi has said, we people, especially Dr. Kavi from our side, and Sandhya Lakshmi and Dr. Sandhya Lakshmi and all other staff members from their side, and the active participation of the participants, the authors of the papers. It is worth mentioning because it was not so formal and superficial. Their presentation was too good, and the comments made by the chairpersons, they were also worth mentioning, which had to be taken into notice and which had to be observed by the scholars. Everything was so good, and I just thank from the bottom of my heart to each and everyone who has made this conference, I mean, a dream come true experience, all possible and all successful. Thank you, each and everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I request all the members to unmute the video so that we can have a screenshot.
Please switch on your video for a photo.
All the participants to unmute the video.
in the chat.
Participants, it's a request, please.
I think the remaining people are virtually online. So because that is the term which we have coined, virtual online. So they are not physically present online also here.
This is one kind of advantage of latest and advanced learning technique.
Okay. I think we can call it a day. Right? Yes. Right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, can I end the meeting?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.